When your snake plant just sits there in the corner day after day, do you actually know what it's doing to you? You probably think it's just decoration, a pretty thing in a pot, something green to fill the empty space next to your couch. But here's the thing, behind that stillness, there's something deeper that almost every plant owner misses. Your snake plant is one of the most quietly active living things in your entire home. It's doing 7 specific things to the air you breathe, the room you sleep in, and even your body, right now, while you're watching this. And if you've never noticed any of it, which most people don't, you've been living next to a silent partner you never knew you had. So let's start with what your snake plant is actually doing the second you walk into the room. 1. It's pulling poison out of your couch. Have you ever wondered why your snake plant always seems to thrive in the rooms with the most furniture? It's not a coincidence. Every couch, carpet, paint coating, and pressed wood shelf in your home is slowly releasing something called benzene. It's a chemical that off-gasses for years after manufacturing. You can't see it, you can't smell it, but your snake plant can. In 1989, NASA ran what's now called the Clean Air Study. They were trying to figure out which plants could keep astronauts alive in sealed space stations, and the snake plant, Sansevieria trifasciata, Barnspipsi, made the final list. The researchers found it actively pulled benzene out of the air through tiny pores on its leaves called stomata. Not as a side effect, as a function. Think about that for a second. While you're sitting on your couch watching TV, your snake plant is quietly cleaning the invisible chemicals leaking out of the cushions you're sitting on. It's been doing that the entire time you've owned it. But here's what most people don't realize. Out of these 7 things, one of them isn't a benefit at all. It's a signal. The plant is telling you something specific about the room you put it in. And once you hear it at the end, you'll never look at your snake plant the same way again. We'll get to that. 2. It's healing the air in your sealed bedroom while you sleep. Have you ever woken up in a closed bedroom feeling stale, heavy-headed, like the air in the room had been used up overnight? That's not a feeling. That's data. In a sealed room with a sleeping adult, carbon dioxide levels can climb to nearly 3 times the level of fresh outdoor air by morning. Stale air isn't just uncomfortable. It's a room that's slowly being damaged by its own occupant. Your snake plant fixes that, and it does it on a schedule no other plant can match. Almost every plant on Earth photosynthesizes during the day. They open their pores in the sunlight, take in carbon dioxide, release oxygen, and shut down at night. That's the rule. But your snake plant breaks it. It uses something called CAM photosynthesis, crassulacean acid metabolism. Only about 7% of plant species on the planet do this. Your snake plant is one of them. What that means in plain English, your snake plant opens its pores at night. It pulls the rising CO2 out of your bedroom air and releases oxygen back into the room for hours, while every other plant in your house is dormant. By morning, the room hasn't been damaged the way it would have been without it. The plant has been quietly repairing the atmosphere of the room you've been living in, breath by breath. That's not air freshening, that's healing on the molecular level. And hey, if this is changing the way you look at your snake plant, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more plant parents who want to actually understand what's happening in their homes. 3. It's eating the formaldehyde in your furniture. Have you ever bought a new piece of pressed wood furniture and noticed that sharp, almost sweet chemical smell for the first few weeks? That's formaldehyde. It's in particle board, plywood, laminate flooring, certain paints, and even some fabric finishes. The EPA classifies it as a known indoor air pollutant, and it doesn't fully stop off-gassing for years. Your snake plant absorbs it. Studies from the University of Georgia and follow-up research from the American Society for Horticultural Science have measured this directly. The leaves take in the formaldehyde through their stomata, and the plant actually metabolizes the chemical at the cellular level. It uses it, breaks it down, turns it into biomass. That's not just air filtering. That's your plant eating the toxin and converting it into more plant. Think about that for a second. The thing that's quietly making you sick is the same thing your snake plant is using to grow. 4. It's raising the humidity in the room. Have you ever walked into a room with a lot of plants and noticed the air just feels softer? That's not your imagination. That's transpiration. Every plant releases water vapor through its leaves as part of its normal cycle. But your snake plant does something most owners don't realize. Because it's a succulent, it stores water in its thick, upright leaves and releases it slowly, over time. Research from the University of Vermont Extension shows that a healthy snake plant can raise the humidity of a small room by around 5%. That sounds tiny. It's not. 5% humidity is the difference between waking up with a dry, scratchy throat and waking up able to breathe through your nose. It's the difference between cracked lips in winter and skin that doesn't feel tight. It's the difference between a static shock living room and one that feels lived in. Your snake plant is, in a very literal sense, softening the air around your body, slowly, constantly, without ever asking you to notice. 5. It's healing the invisible electrical chaos in your room. Now this is the one that almost nobody talks about, so stay with me. Have you ever walked into a room full of screens, TV, monitor, phone charger, Wi-Fi router, and felt subtly drained? Not tired, just off? There's a name for what's happening in that room. Positive ion buildup. Every electronic device in your home releases positive ions into the air. Over time, in a room with multiple electronics, the air becomes ionically imbalanced. Research from the University of California has linked this imbalance to fatigue, headaches, and reduced concentration. It's a real, measurable problem in modern homes, and most people don't even know it exists. Your snake plant is fighting it. Every single day, snake plants release negative ions through their stomata as part of their normal photosynthetic cycle. A 2024 study published in MDPI's Agronomy Journal measured this directly and found that snake plants are among the highest performing houseplants for negative ion release. The negative ions bind with positive ions in the air, neutralizing them and pulling dust particles, mold spores, and airborne allergens down to the ground where you can no longer breathe them in. Think about that for a sec. Every screen in your house is silently making the air worse, and the plant in the corner, the one you barely water, is silently making it better. That's not a houseplant. That's a counterweight. 6. It's changing the microbiome of your air. This is the one almost nobody talks about. Have you ever noticed that some homes just feel cleaner? Not visually, but somehow lighter to breathe in? It's not always the cleaning products. Sometimes it's what's living in the soil. The roots of your snake plant sit in something scientists call the rhizosphere, a microscopic ecosystem of bacteria and fungi that live in symbiosis with the plant. This isn't dirt, it's a working community. Research published in the journal Environmental Science and Technology has shown that these soil microbes contribute significantly to indoor air purification, sometimes more than the plant itself. They consume volatile organic compounds and release them as harmless byproducts. So when you have a snake plant in your room, you don't just have a plant, you have a colony, an entire microscopic ecosystem quietly editing the chemistry of the air every minute of every day. And here's the part that gets even deeper. The longer the plant lives in the same pot, the more established that colony becomes. Your snake plant gets better at cleaning your air the longer you own it. That older, slightly overgrown snake plant your grandmother kept on the windowsill for 30 years? It was doing more for that house than any air purifier ever sold. 7. It's been healing a home you didn't know was broken. Have you ever stopped and really looked at your snake plant? Just looked at it? Remember earlier when I said one of these things wasn't a benefit at all? It was a signal? This is it. Stop and look at it now. It's been sitting in the same spot for months, maybe years. You haven't moved it. You've barely watered it. Some weeks you forget it exists. And in all that time, it has been pulling poison out of your couch, repairing the oxygen levels in your sealed bedroom, eating the formaldehyde leaking from your furniture, softening the air your skin touches, neutralizing the electrical chaos from every screen in the room, building a microscopic ecosystem in its pot to keep restoring the air long after you stop paying attention. It has done all of that, every day, without acknowledgement, without complaint, without ever once telling you the home you were living in needed healing in the first place. That's the signal. The fact that it's been healing things you never knew were broken. Your couch was leaking benzene and you didn't know. Your bedroom was suffocating you slowly and you didn't know. Your screens were charging the air against you and you didn't know. The plant knew, and it went to work. Most plants need something from you. Light, water, attention, schedules. The snake plant doesn't. It survives on whatever you happen to give it. And it goes on, healing the room around you, every minute anyway. That's not a houseplant. That's a quiet repair crew that moved in with you and never sent an invoice. So the next time you walk past that snake plant in the corner, pause for a sec, look at it. Notice the leaves you've stopped noticing, because that plant, it was never just decoration. It's been the quietest healer in your home, fixing things you didn't know were breaking. And now you know.